Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Vengeful Vegas, True Crime in Sin City. I'm your host, Janice.
And I'm Bonnie.
And before I get into today's episode, Bonnie is going to tell you about an active missing persons case.
This week, we're focusing on Jordan Heaton. She's a missing juvenile in Las Vegas. She's 16 years old. She's about 5'6". Weight is around 170 pounds. Her eyes are brown. Her hair is black. Her complexion is described as medium. And she was last contacted on November 23rd of 2021. The Las Vegas Metro Police Department Missing Persons Detail is asking for the public's assistance in locating Jordan Heaton. She might possibly be in severe emotional distress and in need of medical assistance. She was last seen in Las Vegas, Nevada. All hospitals are asked to check their registries for missing persons and notify the police immediately. It should be noted that HIPAA regulations permit disclosure upon request by law enforcement. Anyone with information regarding Jordan and her whereabouts are strongly encouraged to contact LVMPD at 702-828-3111. Please help us bring Jordan home.
At 4 a.m., on May 7th, 2007, Karen Chali and Willibaldo Durantes Antonio got off work from their shift at Nathan's Hot Dogs at the Luxor Casino on the Strip and walked to Willibaldo's car parked on the rooftop level of the parking garage. As they were walking up to his Dodge sedan, Willibaldo noticed that someone had left a paper coffee cup on top of his car. You know those ones you can get at like 7-Eleven?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, as Karen was walking around to the passenger side of the vehicle, Willibaldo went to remove the cup from atop the car. Karen heard a loud bang and immediately dropped towards the ground. And when she stood up, she didn't see Willibaldo. So, she ran around the car and found him lying unconscious on the ground with his fingers missing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, that cup was holding a pipe bomb with a motion-activated trigger, so when Willibaldo went to move it, it exploded, ripping off his fingers and sending a piece of metal into his head.
Oh my gosh, that's like super clever, but horrifying.
He didn't survive.
Oh, that's so sad.
But Karen, however, did. And completely unharmed.
Oh man, I wonder if she has survivor's guilt.
I don't know. I didn't even think about that.
Oh, that's so sad.
So what led up to this? In 2001, while still living in Guatemala, Karen met Alexander Perez at San Carlos University. Shortly after they started dating, Karen became pregnant with their daughter, and when Alexander moved to Panama for work, she followed him. They both got jobs working for the same man. I'm not sure what Alexander did, but Karen was a live-in domestic, which in the U.S. we would call her a live-in housekeeper or maid.
Oh.
Well, this man they worked for, his name was Omar Rueda Denver. Enter Alexander's future alias. Yes, Alexander stole this guy's full name.
Oh my gosh.
So this is the last time I'm going to refer to him as Alexander.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Karen didn't work in Panama very long because when the real Omar found out that she was pregnant, he fired her and she moved back to Guatemala.
Oh, rude.
Yeah, well, different world down there.
Yeah.
So, I'm not sure how far along Karen was when she returned to Guatemala, but Omar didn't return for 8 months after Karen did, and then only a week later immigrated to the U.S. So, I'm not sure if he was there for his daughter being born or not.
Doesn't sound like he even cares that he was going to have a child.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But, I mean, he moved to the U.S. only a week after moving back to Guatemala. But he did convince Karen to immigrate to the U.S. as well so that he could have his daughter closer.
Oh, okay. That's okay.
So Karen borrowed $5,000 from a bank in Guatemala, and traveling by bus, she and their daughter traveled to the U.S. She moved in with Omar, but only 15 days after she arrived, he broke up with her and kicked her out.
Oh my gosh! That's so depressing! She went through all that trouble to get there, and then he gave her the boot? What a jerk.
Yeah, and I think that the daughter went with Karen.
Wait, so like you said he convinced her to move back to the U.S. and then he kicked her out? What was the logic?
Well, not back to the U.S. Like, I'm pretty sure they're not legally in the U.S.
Oh. But he still told her to go there.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
But it was because he wanted to be around his daughter, and the only way to get the daughter here was to get her here. But like we were saying, was he even around when he wasn't around for sure for most of her pregnancy. And then we don't even know if he was there for the birth, so I don't know.
That doesn't make sense to me, but whatever.
Yeah. So later during trial, she testified that this happened because Omar had become involved with another woman. Initially, after they broke up, Omar only wanted to stay in contact so he could see their daughter.
Oh.
But a short while later, Omar wanted her back. But she told him she was seeing someone.
Oh, well, good for her.
She never told Omar who her new boo was. Throw in some old school lingo there.
Yeah. Very old.
Oh my gosh, you should hear me when I call people or people call me at work. Even like our sales reps at work, when they call me, I answer the phone. What up, yo?
Oh, geez. Yeah, it sounds about right.
I even got my mom to start saying it when I answer the phone from her.
Oh, that's cute.
She's like, what's up? I'm like, what's up, yo?
Oh, I love your mom.
So she never told Omar her new boo's name or that he was of Mexican descent. When Karen lived with Omar upon first moving to the U.S., Omar had made some offhanded comments about not liking Mexicans.
Oh.
Because when he first arrived in Vegas, he worked with Mexicans, and they did not treat him well.
Ooh.
It is unclear how Omar found out who she was seeing, but according to the woman he was dating, Rosa Maria Alfonso, just before and after Karen arrived, Omar knew her work hours and that she was dating a Mexican.
That doesn't make sense. Like, he doesn't care about her enough to be with her, but he's gonna stalk her anyways. I don't understand the logic behind that.
Well, at this point, he wanted her back.
Oh, okay. Still, ugh.
Yeah, like he was dating this Rosa chick before Karen got to the States. And then he broke up with Rosa to go with Karen because Karen finally made it here. And then after 15 days, he's like, never mind, and went and dated Rosa. And then that kind of like fizzled, and they just became friends, and that's when he wanted Karen back. So he kind of like flip-flopped between them.
Yeah, no.
So Rosa said that Omar knew Karen's work hours and that she was dating a Mexican. Several sources say he had followed her, showed up at her home and her work, and he would call her work when he knew she would be there.
Oh, yeah, that's straight up stalker behavior.
So in testimony, eventually, Omar admitted to following Karen many times and had seen Willibaldo with her on multiple occasions, and even said he had watched from a distance while they had sex in his vehicle in the Luxor parking garage.
Oh, no!
Yeah.
He's not just a stalker, he's a voyeur.
I don't know if he was close enough to actually see the actual sexual act happening, but, I mean, you can see when a vehicle's rocking.
Ooh. He's got problems.
Well, that's pretty apparent.
Yes.
Yeah, so he said he would go looking for Karen, and not that he was following her. He was looking for her because he wanted to see his daughter. Like, he was trying to play this off as he wasn't following her.
I mean, I can see how he could make that angle believable, but come on, dude.
Yeah, I mean, we get into more from there.
Great.
Yeah. So Omar, like all of us, also formed friendships after moving to Vegas. And one such friendship was with a man named Porfirio Durante Herrera, who went by Pilo.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah, they all have hyphened last names.
Yeah.
Or at least the two main guys. So the two main people in Omar's life at this point were Rosa and Pilo. Karen was also technically in his life, but that's only because of their daughter.
Oh, right.
So, on the evening of May 6, 2007, Omar was at Rosa's apartment hanging out and doing laundry. And while there, he received 2 separate phone calls from Pilo. And after the second one, Omar told Rosa he had to go and he left.
That's weird.
I don't think it's that weird. I mean, he was really good friends with Pilo, so, I mean, he was kind of using Rosa's apartment for doing his laundry at this point. And so the following information is details from the time-stamped video surveillance of the Luxor parking garage on the morning of May 7th, 2007.
Okay.
1:11 a.m. A 2006 Chevy Cobalt appears on surveillance video. The vehicle drove around the rooftop level of the parking garage as if searching for something. Then, after passing by Willibaldo's Dodge, the Chevy exited the parking structure without parking.
Okay.
At 2:37 a.m., the Chevy returned and this time headed straight to where the Dodge was parked and pulled in next to it at 2:38 and 1 second.
Initially, the behavior wasn't suspicious, but once it came back and parked, then that immediately becomes suspicious.
Well, I don't think it was suspicious at all until the bomb went off, and then they rewound the tapes.
Yeah, okay, I guess that's fair.
From 2:38 and 1 second to 2:39 and 43 seconds, about a minute and a half of the surveillance video does not show clearly what happened because of how far away they were parked from the camera.
Ugh.
But the prosecutor during trial stated, and I quote, "The passenger door opens, and almost 1 minute, Pilo Porfirio Durante Herrera is planting the bomb on the vehicle and arming it, getting it ready to explode." But this statement isn't evidence, and other than seeing two vehicles parked side by side, the video is not proof enough to convict either suspect, Omar or Pilo, of the murder by bombing.
Oh, man, that's gotta be infuriating. Having video evidence that you can't even see clearly enough to use.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that the case most of the time?
Yeah.
I mean, at least back then. I mean, now everyone freaking has a cell phone camera and everything gets recorded. And it's all, like, way closer up. But back in 2007, we didn't have the convenience of the
having
videos that we do now.
Yeah.
And even so, I mean, at the time of the bombing, there would be no reason for either Karen or Willibaldo to just randomly have their video out, their phones out for video. Yeah. So even if it was now, they probably wouldn't have any more evidence than they do.
Nope.
So, at 4:07 a.m., two figures appear on surveillance video walking over the pedestrian bridge towards Willibaldo's Dodge. At 4:08 a.m., the two approach the car and separate to the driver and passenger sides, followed by a flash on top of the vehicle. I can just, like, picture this in my mind, like...
Yeah, me too. Ugh.
This couple just slowly walking across this parking garage, and then all of a sudden there's just, like, this white flash.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this bomb for a minute. This type of bomb is not directional, meaning the blast will go in every direction.
Okay.
Also, like all bombs, the closer to the source of the explosion, the more damage that happens.
Right.
Which is why there is so much damage to Willibaldo's hand.
Oh, that's so sad.
And why when she ran around the vehicle, the first thing she noticed is, like, his fingers weren't there.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out how that cup stayed on top of the car for 2 hours undisturbed. Like, it feels kind of lucky to me that the bomb didn't accidentally go off before Will touched it.
I thought the same thing. I mean, even just, like...
Yeah.
Someone driving around a park. Like, they're shaking the parking structure. But also think about, like, how many people leave cups on top of their vehicles and then just start driving and it takes a while for it to fall off.
Yeah, that also crossed my mind. But this is... I don't know. Like, my mind keeps going to it being one of those really lightweight cups, but... It had the bomb, so that is a significant additional weight, so I don't know. Mm-hmm. And the car wasn't driving, it was stationary, but I guess depending on where it was placed on the car, it would be more sturdy then. I don't know. I like it. Do you have any information as to how it was triggered? Like, I have no idea how these bombs work, and so I'm trying to picture how it was set up.
Oh, I do.
Okay, yeah, explain that to me.
Oh, yeah. I'll get there. So, first I'm going to talk about the autopsy and the explosion. So, the autopsy report states that Willibaldo, who was 24 when he died, died because an end cap fragment of the pipe bomb penetrated the right hemisphere of his brain. Other bodily harm included a smaller piece of shrapnel penetrating his body as well as blast damage to his face, chest, and right arm. The explosion also caused a 2 to 3 foot long, 3-inch wide gash in the roof of the vehicle, and shrapnel was sent throughout the vehicle.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about the car.
Yeah, that's a big freaking hole.
Yeah.
Like 3 inches wide.
Well, it was enough to blow his fingers off, so it stands to reason that it blew a hole in the car.
Yeah, but I feel like metal is stronger than our fingers.
Yeah.
So, how did Karen remain unharmed?
Well, you said that she dropped to the ground as soon as she heard the explosion, and she was on the other side of the car, and assuming that the cup bomb was positioned closer to the driver's side of the car, I imagine, I don't know, you would think that something would have hit her, like...
You would imagine.
Some small piece of shrapnel. Yeah.
So, the reports have it that it's due to her short stature and the curvature of the car roof apparently shielding her and directing the blast energy and shrapnel over her head.
Oh, man, being short was lucky for her.
Yeah. It wasn't just because she was short. It was also somehow the, exact shape of that particular car's roof. It went over her head. Because, the sound she had to have heard after the actual explosion would have hit her, if it was going to hit her. Because, sound is, one of the last things to usually see or hear or feel or whatever.
Yeah, but because she was so close to the source of the explosion, it would have been indistinguishable from the actual explosion, Well,
yeah, but if we're thinking just... it all happened, in a flash, literally. Yeah. But there's always stages to how everything actually happens at, that microscopic second.
Yeah, the explosion has to happen before the sound happens. So, but it's a negligible amount.
Yeah.
But
even if you even that split second to drop when something happens, it's not gonna guarantee that it is gonna help you at all.
Yeah, I'm impressed with her reflexes on how quick she dropped. I probably would have just looked around what happened,
That's you, Bonnie.
Dead. I'd be dead.
So, following the incident, Karen was questioned by police officers, and she gave the information she had on Omar. And as the police followed up on him as a possible suspect, because they always have to rule out family.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why he became a suspect, immediately.
Yeah.
Because of that reason. So, when they looked into him, they found his multiple names.
That doesn't look good.
And he had just been issued a traffic citation while driving a vehicle matching the description of the one on the surveillance video.
Ooh, that feels like a smoking gun to me.
And so after they identified the Chevy that was driving around the parking garage, they found out that it was owned by Rosa. And once they found Rosa, she was able to show police where Omar was living and working at the time.
So was Rosa actually, involved in any way? Was she aware that he was using her vehicle for that? Or was it just oh, hey, can I borrow your vehicle? And then...
Nope. She didn't even know he took it.
Oh, that's bad. Okay. It's good for her, but...
Yeah. As far as I saw in all of the reports, it didn't sound like Rosa was ever a suspect. I never saw her as any part of it. So when the police found her, they showed up at her place and she showed them where Omar was living and working at the time. And because he was now a suspect because he was driving her vehicle, or they suspected that he was driving her vehicle because of the connection to Karen. So plain-clothed officers followed Omar and were eventually able to make an arrest of him while he was driving his Mazda truck. So he owned a Mazda truck.
Okay.
Rosa owned the Chevy.
Okay.
So when they arrested him and pulled him over or whatever when he was driving his truck, they found inside Rosa's spare set of car keys, which she had told the police she had been missing.
Oh, so yeah, she definitely didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, he tried to play it off like she planted them in there, but there were other things in the truck along with the keys. There were wire cutters, electrical tape, and numerous different colored insulated wires.
Oh, so bomb-making materials.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that is like so dangerous. How many bombs has he made to where he was confident enough to sit in the truck and build a bomb?
So he didn't actually build the bomb.
So who made the bomb?
Pilo was also a suspect from the time they spoke with Rosa.
Oh, jeez.
I think Rosa had probably told the officers about the 2 phone calls that Omar received from Pilo that night.
Mm-hmm.
And then once looking into Pilo's criminal background, he became a prime suspect as well. Because he was a suspect in another bombing case.
Oh, jeez.
Where a bomb went off outside of a Home Depot.
Yeah, that doesn't look good.
Yeah.
They're not smart criminals, are they? Like, change your MO.
Well, I don't know. This was like Pilo's thing. I don't know. They didn't do a very good job. So I question whether or not they were both the targets, or if they were just hoping that it was Willabaldo and that Karen wasn't there at all. Like, I don't know.
Maybe they just didn't care who they hit.
Well, no, they were aiming for Willabaldo, for sure, because he took Karen away from Omar, and Omar was jealous and wanted to get rid of the guy.
Yeah, but what if he was just mad at Karen and didn't care if he killed her?
I don't think he was mad at her. I think he was just like the crazy ex, and he wanted her back, and she was like, I got a boyfriend. Sorry.
Yeah, but like sometimes people have the mindset of, well, if I can't have you, nobody can have you. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
So maybe he just didn't care who he killed. He just, oh, if I kill Karen, nobody else can have her. If I kill Will, I get Karen back.
Yeah. Shitty people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in the search of Pilo's residence, they found spray foam, pipe end caps, soldering irons, and other incriminating materials. And bomb experts identified the wires used in the Luxor bombing as red and black, which matched the wires found in Omar's truck. And the spray foam found at the bombing site matched that which was found in Pilo's home.
Yeah, they are not smart criminals.
Yeah, so you were wondering how the bomb just didn't go off?
Yeah.
Like, in that 2 hours it was sitting up there. So the bomb wasn't just, like, chilling by itself, like, pipe put inside of a cup and then just set on top of the car.
Mm-hmm.
It was held in place with the spray foam.
Oh, so he had to, like, peel the cup off the car?
I don't think that. I think that surrounding the pipe bomb inside of the cup so that everything was, like, compact and, like, didn't move around.
Uh-huh.
That it was filled with spray foam around the inside to keep the pipe bomb in place. Okay. So when he set that trigger to go off as soon as it moved, that's when it would go off.
Okay.
So it had to be very stable and set in place for the trigger to be able to go off when they wanted it to.
Yeah. Yeah. Ew. Gosh, people are so messed up. And so, like, clever. Like, I'm impressed with the ingenuity of this bomb that they made from like a scientific standpoint. Like, from a humane standpoint, they are absolutely messed up in the head. That is so wrong. But it's so fascinating at the same time from like I said, like a clinical sterilized point of view, how they built that bomb and got it to do exactly what they wanted it to.
So in the trial, Omar and Pilo were tried together.
Oh, really?
Yep. They tried to get separate trials, but the motion failed, and they initially blamed the entire thing on the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, they denied it for a while, but eventually they just gave in and was like, yeah, I was involved. So the linchpin in this case was Rosa's car.
Yeah.
And initially, Omar said that he would only drive Rosa's car if Rosa was with him. But later, after finally admitting to being involved in the bombing, Omar contradicted himself and admitted that he would drive Rosa's car without her there, because when he would go out in search of Karen, if he drove his own truck, she would recognize it, and by extension, him.
Yeah, that right there, like, it's admitting stalker behavior. He is again, a dumb criminal.
Yeah, I mean, really. He also contradicted himself when he initially told detectives that he did not know who she was dating or what vehicle was his. There are so many contradictions in his interrogation that I just can't go into them all. But let's just say they are not helping his case.
Yeah.
So the defense maintained throughout Omar's trial that the inconsistencies were due to the circumstances of his arrest and the manner in which he was interrogated.
No. That's such a weak argument.
Well, when Omar was arrested, a helicopter dropped down from the sky and hovered immediately in front of his vehicle while using a special feature to make loud noise that was intended to startle the subject. And after he stopped his vehicle, multiple plain-clothed officers with no marked patrol vehicles or uniformed officers present, then with their guns drawn, approached Omar and shouted commands in English. And the leading arresting officer in his plain clothes then holstered his gun and tackled Omar when he did not comply with all of the officer's series of commands.
I don't think that the loud noise from the helicopter was necessary to startle him. I think if a helicopter dropped down in front of me, I'd be startled enough.
I guess that's true. And then being yelled at and not understanding the language. Like, if I was traveling in another country and, like, something happened and, like, police are yelling at me and I have no idea what they're saying, I would be freaked out just by that.
Yeah.
Especially if they have guns pointed at you.
Yeah, but then he was dumb enough to, like, not comply. Oh, I guess if he didn't know what they were saying, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know what they're saying, the only thing I can think of is just, like, hands up.
Yeah, like, hands up, lay on the ground. Like, minimum, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but sometimes they don't even want you to, like, lay on the ground. Like, maybe they just want you to kneel or...
Yeah.
Or nothing at all. Like, they just want you to, like, have your hands up so they can come up to you and, like, put your hands behind your back.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, I mean, as far as that being one of the things that the defense is using for him, if that makes sense. So, neither suspect nor Karen spoke much English, so translators were used continuously, and this is just one of the tactics that the defense used in the trial, saying that due to the lack of understanding by Omar, his mental state and harsh treatment made it impossible for him to give correct or consistent answers during interrogation, and that's why he kept contradicting himself.
Nah, still sounds like garbage.
I mean, I agree, but that's one of the things they were saying. So, and then they were also saying that in the interrogation itself, defense is saying they didn't even believe that the second officer, so not the arresting officer, because the arresting officer didn't speak Spanish, that the second officer that was doing the translating, like, didn't speak good enough Spanish that he should have been, like, the translator. And so they were using that as another excuse as to why his answers weren't lining up.
So they were massively grasping at straws.
Pretty much. So, at the same time that Omar was being interrogated, Pilo was also being interrogated. And do you want to know what happened in his interrogation?
Well, I do now.
Well, you're going to have to wait till next week.
Well, that's rude.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun.
So, next week, I will get into the conclusion of the trial and then what happened over the last 12 years since the case was tried. Because the story doesn't end with the end of this case.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, it could.
But it doesn't.
But it doesn't.
So if you are interested in hearing the conclusion, please help us out by subscribing to our Patreon. Joining our Patreon will give you access to not only the conclusion of this episode, but to every episode. And it will help me and Bonnie in affording the podcasting basics of the recording software, website construction, and all of the other stuff that goes into making this happen. So until next time,
wear clean socks and underwear and take a shower.
And remember, safety isn't expensive. It's priceless.